And welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/noassemblypod. And now your host. She told me before this show that Apple has failed her for the last time, RedRomina. Your second host. Our aspiring pop culture enthusiast, Audrey Ember, and your final host, a man who wishes it was 5 o'clock somewhere, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Assembly Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Welcome to the show. Please get us to 1,000 subscribers so we can actually monetize this program.
Wow, getting straight to the
that
point
web
there.
hosting. That web hosting is it's not inexpensive.
We'll make it back.
We'll make it back.
Someday. Yes.
Through likes and internet validation.
I cannot take view validation to the bank, Romina. I cannot.
Guys, we could start a Patreon.
Cannot pay for web.
I don't know about that. I mean,
hosting
Patreon. Fees. You know, did you guys get the email on from Patreon that they're going to start because they're required to do to add tax?
That's a whole nother can of worms. That
are we not going to get into? We're not getting into.
No,
I don't even know that was a
and
thing.
I want more context on that anyway. I want some answers from.
I don't. Them. Yeah, I mean, I don't have enough context either. Like, all I have is like the email that they sent today.
Yeah.
Which was, hey, you guys should contact all of your supporters on Patreon and let them know that this is happening before we email them, because it's going to sound better coming from you first than coming from Patreon.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, but also I don't really understand what exactly is going on with Patreon and their taxing and all of that stuff. Hello. Welcome, everybody.
I have complicated feelings about anything dealing with a lot of these like platforms, and you know, I'm very sensitive to the digital economy itself and the creator economy specifically, but I'm not against taxes, but I have some very complicated feelings about them. Especially just adamantly don't like where things have been heading lately with people deciding who deserves the money that they've earned. Like that bothers me a lot. And so one more wrinkle in the tax situation, I just think is something people don't need, especially content creators right now.
How do you feel about that, Audrey?
Agreed. I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you got everybody. You got a lot of people, and I understand people are in their feelings right now, and that times are hard for a lot of people. We know people personally that have been affected by unemployment recently or changing job dynamics. We have friends and family that like have been drastically affected by this. But at the same time, I don't think that people who are not in that situation, you know, deserve to be attacked because they have different circumstances. And I like, as somebody who loves to teach people how to build something of their own, and not just like me, but I'm like looking at the fact that 10, 20 years from now, I can see a lot of people that will have come up from nothing being criticized by another generation of people who don't know how hard they work and weren't there when they were poor and struggling and didn't care about them, and being told, hey, you didn't earn that, or you don't deserve that, or why do you have when other people don't? And it's going to be a thing when it's going to be that, well, these creators and these people who built their companies or wrote their apps or did whatever, like they did build that, they did earn that. And just because you haven't yet or other people haven't, that doesn't mean that you get to decide that they are undeserving somehow. I mean, I'm not here to like, oh, you just want to defend billionaires, but I'm being real in the fact that if anybody here, whether it's you or me or anybody in the chat, if you ever figure out how to help 1 million human beings and they decide to give you their money, I'm not here to tell you that, oh, well, you don't deserve that because of what other people don't have. You created value for 1 million human beings. Hell, you create value for 2 billion human beings because you build something really dope that we all love. And because
Yeah.
none of us want to use the second or third best app in the world or whatever, then, hats off to you. Like, get your coins. I'm not going to sit here
Yeah.
and say you don't deserve it because other people work really hard and don't get that. They didn't do what you did. You changed the world. You broke the universe. You made something dope. Like, cool. Hats off to you and everything. I should have done it first.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's ridiculous to get mad at people for that.
Sure.
Like,
Of
getting
course
well
it
get-
is. Anybody who's sane would know that it's ridiculous to get mad at somebody because of that. But you know what? Speaking of things and things that people deserve, I deserve a better webcam. I feel
Yeah.
like I paid.
You
dropped
did.
a couple
Apple failed
G's.
you.
Yes, why haven't they upgraded
A
that
couple
yet?
G's on this laptop, and still,
400.
it's been how many years?
How do they get away with the piss poor webcam on a $4,000 laptop? I swear to God.
That makes no sense to me. I don't understand.
I don't understand it either, quite honestly.
Maybe people just don't really care. Like in
Well,
general.
No,
here,
people do. People are
Yeah,
very
people-
passionate about this.
yeah, people do care. Well, the thing is that
Like,
you know
besides
what?
content creators, do
Well,
normal
No,
people
it's
care?
everybody because of meetings.
Yeah, and like video chatting
True.
and like people FaceTime, Audrey. You know, not everybody's an antisocial.
Wow. No, but I'm saying like someone who's just FaceTiming or on a meeting, like do they care how
Their
good the quality is?
$400
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
iPhone
I get
SE.
it. Like if you're paying for
$400
super,
iPhone
like,
SE has a better
high
camera than a
quality
$4,000 laptop. What the hell?
I know. This doesn't make
All
sense.
right,
And they
so-
haven't updated since like forever.
It's an
here's
abomination.
here's my gripe. Here's my gripe. The thing is that so my laptop, like the huge update, right, was the podcasting microphone, like the cool, amazing microphone that is now built into this computer, which I can use for recording my next single, right? So this is like the big thing that they're all like, oh my gosh, guys, we know you guys were all asking for this. Nobody was asking for this. I mean, like the mic was just fine. If you're going to update something, update the webcam. How many people use a webcam every single day on their MacBook as opposed to recording professional sounding audio using their computer?
I mean,
Like the
could've
ratios,
just-
like
you could have just did both. You could have just did both.
all right, but if we're gonna
Honestly,
take one or the other, Roberto,
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, why the audio? Like, who asked for? I want to know which YouTuber
Yeah,
talked to Apple
a real
and was their
you-
consultant and was like, "Listen, you better put a great microphone on there
it's so
I mean-
for my
true.
podcast, which 1,200 people
We'll
listen."
we'll exile them from the YouTube community.
I'm not mad. I'm just passionate.
Sure.
You sure, homie? Because I don't know. You
It
sound
seemed
big
like a
mad there.
very passionate speech right there.
You sound big mad. Romina's big mad.
I am. I mean, you know, because the reason that this was brought up is because my camera was all fuzzy before we got on. And by the way, if you're just listening to this podcast, you are missing the whole visual aspect of this by
You're
not
missing the
tuning
terrible
in
quality.
every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at youtube.com/no. What's our URL?
Hello?
No assembly pod.
Yeah, there you go. All right, youtube.com/noassemblypod. So head
If
over
we
there.
can't even
turn
remember
on-
our URL, maybe we have a
we're
branding
doomed.
issue.
We're doomed. Yeah.
You gotta, man. You know how much I've been doing so much today. I'm just like my head is spinning. But definitely, if you are listening to this, head over to youtube.com/noassemblypod. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and be there every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But so going back to the webcam thing, what was happening was because my thing was all fuzzy, my webcam was all fuzzy, and I was like, well, what's going on? Oh, this webcam sucks. And then Roberto was all like, I'm surprised you aren't using your Sony A5100. It's like the best webcam that there is, blah, 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 right? And I was like, no, because then I have to buy other equipment in order to make that happen. It's not like a plug and go situation, you know? I have to like set it up, and it's like this whole thing. And then I was like, no, what needs to happen is like the MacBook just needs to come with a better webcam. I mean, you know, why pay all this money and then have a 720? It's not even 7. I don't even know what this is. It claims to be 720,
Maybe-
but it looks like 480. Like, let's be
like
honest.
you paid $4,000 for the laptop. Spring 100 for the cam link, RedRomina. I have one for every computer here.
I mean,
like,
is it difficult
which
to
is
upgrade
excessive,
that or
by the way.
something? Like, I don't
It's
know.
excessive, but it's like, well, no, it shouldn't be. I think it's like every other problem. Apple's problem comes down to making everything thinner when nobody cares. Nobody asked for it to be any thinner, and that's the problem. Is we made it really thin, so now we can't do all these other things. That it's like, well, why did you make it so damn thin?
All right, Andrew in the chat here is against you and I, Roberto. He's on Team Audrey here, and he believes that average consumers don't really care. And
No, they do. They do.
I mean, I've never
especially
heard
now.
like my mom complain about how bad the video.
How
quality
often
is
does she
for her
use
Zoom meetings? She's been using it a lot recently because Zoom, like meetings. But
I
she's not
think
complained to me once. I even filmed a video with her for like the thing that she's doing.
Well, your mother
and
is
she did
is a
not
lovely
once
woman.
bring up the quality.
All right, after 2020, though, with the age of video conferencing and remote work, after 2020, Apple, there's no goddamn excuse.
But then why is mine also bad? Is
What do
this
you
like
have?
a universal problem? I have a Dell XPS.
Oh, you
Yeah.
probably have 720 then. You
Yeah.
probably don't have a 1080p camera on your webcam.
Yeah, no, but I do think that my Lenovo Creator laptop that has an NVIDIA graphics card, not sponsored, but they did send it to me to review, and then I gotta send it back at some point, has a decent, serviceable webcam in addition to having a real graphics card. So there was
Wow.
that. Because they made it for creators. And they know that we give a crap about our webcams.
Actually care about it.
Yeah, things creators. Yeah, things creators.
This is
care
all
about.
creators. Yeah, things creators care about. That's kind of a tongue twister, but actually sounds cool at
Yeah,
the same
things
time.
creators care
Creators
about.
care about. Should we make another podcast talking about creators? Things creators care. All
We're
right,
just
let's
ranting
get
about
let's get through
episode.
this one
We'll do an
podcast
episode.
first.
We'll
get
do
through this
an
one podcast
episode.
first.
No, we'll do an episode.
Ahmed in the chat says episode 15. Wow, Ahmed is absolutely correct. We are on episode 15, guys.
They
How do you
didn't
feel
think
about
we'd
that?
make it past. They didn't think we'd make it past 4 episodes.
Yeah, they didn't. They had no hope for us.
No faith. Your lack of
We
faith
proved them
disturbs me.
wrong. We're on episode 15.
I'm
15.
disappointed that they
That's
had low.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's like 2 months.
Everybody was talking at the same time.
That's 2 months, guys. That's pretty good.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess, yeah. I think we're doing all right.
No,
Yes.
I look forward to this every week, every Thursday.
I was gonna say I look forward to being over.
Yeah.
No, what the hell?
I'm kidding.
Wow. Everybody, the shades coming out. It's like an eclipse tonight.
No,
What's
I'm
going
kidding.
on?
Sheesh.
Let's see. Ooh, look at that. Beanie believes in us. He says, you guys have consistency and work ethic. Of course you'd get to episode 15.
Oh.
Thanks, Beanie.
Thanks, Beanie.
Thanks a
And
lot.
we need your help. Share the podcast. We need your help. We need to get to
Yes.
1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we need to get to 1,000 subscribers, not just because we like all those zeros, which we do like all those zeros, but
Yes, we do.
also because we have a very concrete reason for wanting that, and that is because we get to monetize our
Yes,
YouTube.
and then we can get Romina that cam link, and she could have that beautiful, crispy video and not have to rely on Apple's shortcomings. And then we could also...
That's the first milestone, guys. 1,000 so that Romina can get the cam link. 10,000 so that Romina can get Philips Hue lights so that she can look super dope like Roberto.
We'll get you
Wow.
some LFX on the budget side real quick.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, they're like a third of the price or something of Philips Hue, and they get the job done. And they got some features Philips doesn't actually, so it's kind of interesting.
Nice.
Brittany, the gamer girl, put me onto that with her ultimate room setup. She's using some of those, and it's pretty dope. Relatively affordable.
Nice. Are you changing up do you change up the lighting like according to the time of day or like stuff like that? Do you have stuff like setups like that?
I have one or two automations like that, but mostly I just adapt it to my my video setup. And there's like minor variations of this. Like you guys can't see it as much because we're not in widescreen or nothing like that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I've got a couple of different ones. Well, hang on. So that one's more. I have multiple.
So we got orange, pink, reddish.
I've got multiple variations.
Yellow. Looks cool, man.
Yeah, no,
I kind of like that yellow one.
Yeah, I've got multiple variations and setups here and everything like that. I have multiple Spider-Verse setups here.
Spider.
That's awesome.
Spider-Verse, yeah, we all about that Spider-Verse life. So yeah.
Speaking of movies, Audrey just released a really cool video where she dissected not Wes Anderson himself, but his films.
Romina, what did you think as the Wes Anderson stan? Give me the honest truth.
Wes Anderson. When you said that, I'd spit out my drink. I was like, Wes Anderson stan? Oh my god.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty accurate.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, my favorite part was like as soon as you had like the people playing in the background, I freaking lost it. I was like, oh my god, this is so funny.
Yeah, that was
really good. And then I think you ended up using some of the tracks that I suggested, right?
Yes, I did. That was super helpful because
from
mine
Epidemic Sound or from Storyblocks.
I got them from Epidemic Sound.
Okay.
Well, because she was like linking me stuff, and I was like, no.
I still use the one you didn't really approve of at the end. Like I like this one too.
So much. I actually like this thumbnail. I just would have changed the color of the text.
Me
to make
too.
It more readable. I
agree with that.
I have another trick for that. So we could still get some more clicks through rate on that thumbnail. Solid showing with 5,000 in the first 2 days here, and I like that idea for that. Why nobody can recreate. I like that.
Because I texted you guys and I was like, help with the title, basically.
Do you think that the word recreate is too much versus why nobody can copy?
Yeah, why no one can copy?
Why nobody can copy?
I mean, I think I might have done that because some of my other videos were typed.
Or is it that why nobody can copy feels like a tongue twister?
I don't know. I think, let me check my other videos.
How about why you can't copy?
Oh, that's
why
good. You
can't
copy that's stronger. That's more of a wait.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like
because I think I stayed away from
what I can and cannot do.
Yeah, that's a good one. Wait, I'll write it down. I need to change that.
Your best dressed was really good. That did like 100,000. Sheesh. You know, it's funny what they say. Like you know what we talked about this before. So, and I hate to say it this way, but it's like, all right, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and big minds talk about ideas. Well, literally, you could look at that, and you can look at how views work in YouTube, and you can just go with that if you really think about it. Videos about people who are already famous or successful or accomplished or are well known and have an enviable life or lifestyle, instantaneous views.
Yeah.
Especially from outside your audience and fan base. Current events, you're going to get some views, you're going to get some tractions, you're going to get search. You go with abstracts or big ideas or thoughtful things and everything like that, quality of audience might be better, but quantity is abysmal.
Yeah.
And it's just it just goes to show you, I mean, that's you literally can see it. And so that's just like, I don't know if I just made myself depressed just now. But I'm looking at your stuff, and it's not like there's some dramatic leap in exponential quality or editing from video to video from you, but like it's insane to me that you can get 300,000 views, 400,000 views on one upload, and then 3 or 4K views on another upload, then 100,000 views. And by the way, that's not just you. That happens with me too, and everything. But it's like, but it's this. It's so irritating to think about because we then keep hearing the gospel of quality video when it's like that has nothing to do with shit. Like it's just the damn topics and titles and
it's literally
thumbnails.
Title and thumbnail dictate basically anything.
Topic, title, thumbnail.
Topic, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if your video is good, like it kind of just depends on what audience you want to get. Like you could make I don't want to say bad, but like, you know, a more simple video and it could still be really entertaining and stuff. It's just it's what audience you're going for.
So let me ask you a question. Now that you've made this video about Wes Anderson, did you actually watch all of his movies or just the ones you?
All of them. I watched like 5 of them though. So I don't know how many.
Did you end up watching the animated ones? Which one did you watch?
No, not yet. I literally didn't have time. I rewatched Grand Budapest Hotel because I wanted to,
That's right. It's fine. That's the one that got him noticed by the Academy. So,
I still am gonna watch them though.
I would love to see what Audrey's thoughts are on Miyazaki's animated films. Yeah. And the thing is, as much as you loved Spider-Verse, I really think that you would love Miyazaki's. What?
She was making a little pouting with her lips.
No, I think if you loved Spider-Verse,
it's on the list, Audrey. Princess Mononoke. I only put one. I think I might have put Spirited Away too, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, Spirited Away.
But yeah, I mean, definitely start with Princess Mononoke. That's like his staple. That's like the really great one.
I still cannot watch that without crying. She can watch the English dub. She can watch the English dub.
No.
Yeah.
I won't allow it. Audrey,
I'll allow it.
You need to watch these in Japanese with English subtitles.
I will allow for a watching of the dub.
I will not allow that.
Because the dub was actually really good for Mononoke and everything.
I will not allow that for any of his films. I believe that you should watch it in the original language. Any film that is foreign, you should watch in the original language because you'll lose the culture aspect of it.
I understand what you're saying, but I think they did a great job. Out of all the things that have ever been dubbed, even years and years later, Princess Mononoke is respected not only by the Japanese themselves, but by hardcore otaku audiences for the thoughtfulness they did in the dub and in the localization. And
I can appreciate that. I think that a lot of them have done great jobs. Who did the voice of Eboshi?
Was it Minnie Driver?
I don't know. I've never seen the dubbed version.
Oh my God, Romina, how can you criticize it without having ever watched it?
I do not watch dubbed films. Any dubbed foreign film.
There are good ones. There are ones that are done well, and I say this as
I'm
a
sure
snob.
that they are, but I like to watch it in the original. All right,
I watch it in the original, but then I also watch the dub.
All right, we're going off topic here. This is becoming a heated discussion, and I will not tolerate it on such a lovely night as this. This is a lovely Thursday night.
Look, we can respectfully disagree. Unlike most people on the internet.
Spider-Verse is on.
Is it on Disney Plus now?
Oh, it's not on Netflix anymore?
It is on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's on my list. Okay. I saw it yesterday. Unless they took it out.
I personally think that Spider-Verse was one of your most creative videos, Audrey. I know it didn't get all the views or anything, but I really loved what you did with that. And I remember helping you with the tutorial, like with the
my God,
with the stuff, literally you learned like how many new techniques just to make that video.
I don't even know, but I remember you showed me that you could edit like video in Photoshop, and it basically saved me a lot of time.
Yeah,
I was going frame by frame before.
Nah, homie,
it was absolutely insane.
I mean, I love that, and I love that I was able to teach you something new, and that you were able to actually utilize it and execute on something that I don't even think I could do with it. Not in that period of time. I could probably do it, but not with that period of time and not that well. You watching you work on that, watching all the effort you put into a single video was really cool. It was really inspiring, but it also made me feel lazy as hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
So I knocked my videos out in terms of like
It's
everything but the
ridiculous.
edit. I knock it out in like it takes me 20 minutes to do a video, and then the edit is like less than an hour.
But that's what you prioritize. You prioritize like efficiency.
True.
Like sometimes I wish I was more efficient with my stuff because it takes 10 years.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Well, I've tried putting hours upon hours and hours into videos, and I just psychologically couldn't take the torment of psychologically putting hours and hours and hours and hours into something only for it to not get the reach and the and not get a broader audience after all that proportionate effort than to watch something I put less than an hour into that happened to be a more popular or easy to digest topic, and it outperform it and everything like that, because it felt like there was no reward on the other end of the rainbow proportionate to effort. So to be honest, I actually went to a efficiency model and put all of my energy and effort only into my on-camera performance and my public speaking cadence, and I put all of my energy and all of my heart and soul into my delivery and into my on-camera presence. And I don't emotionally invest in the edits anymore, because I just felt that there was, if that's how it was going to perform, if that's what people were not, if people weren't going to care, it just felt really unsatisfying to work that hard on that part of it. Because I care about everything I do, and I do make stuff for myself, but going out of my way, that just didn't feel like respecting myself and respecting my limited time. And I'm like, okay, I could put that effort into something else that feels like it has a better payoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I'd rather put my time into live streaming, and be there with the community. I'd rather be on live streams for hours and hours and know that I'm there with people and I'm getting, to know them and that we're having rapport. I'd rather spend 3 hours on that than 3 hours on an edit for, not a lot of views on that.
I mean, even like on these, like this video, for example, I don't know how well it's going to do. I hope it does well. But I've gotten messages from like, it's gotten way more like outside engagement from people who are like, oh, this was really cool or inspiring, whatever, than like a normal video does. So for me, that's kind of nice, because I know that like there's people who are really appreciating it. So that's nice to know, even if like the views aren't reflected, I guess. That can be frustrating, but at the same time.
I feel the same way a lot of times. It just all comes down to how you're feeling when you're doing it and where you are emotionally with your with your creativity. Because there's things I'll put effort into that I'll never even share publicly that I just did, that I liked doing, and that was for me. And I'm good with that too.
I mean, I write a lot. I write almost every day. And sometimes I'll send my poems to my friend. Well, you guys actually have never read my poems, I guess. But I write all the time, but it's like I'm not posting it or sharing it, but just because I'm not doesn't mean that it's, any less valuable. But just to kind of shift the topic here a little bit, Beanie wants to know have any of you heard of the Untitled Goose Game? And yes, I have. Have you guys heard of this game? Okay, so this game is like, I think it's an indie game, but it's basically the player gets to control this goose and just torment like this little English village. And that's the premise of the game. You just go around and like, you just honk at people and like, that's it.
That's
tormenting innocent
my
people.
Ideal life.
Tormenting you, like it's like no. That sounds like a goose. That sounds like a fantastic career choice. Like I mean, but can I replace like the goose with my torture device of choice? Like can I pick like?
Don't give Roberto this time.
No, it's just a goose.
And can we replace English? Can we replace little old English villages? Can we replace little old English villages with all of humanity? And can we replace the goose with unlimited power?
No.
Because then game
still
on.
Be the goose. Wait, okay, if you could have that unlimited power, but you had to be a goose, would you still do it?
But if I have unlimited power, I can go from goose to dragon.
No, you can't change.
you're
You have to be a goose. That's the only limit you have.
There's no getting around it.
Unlimited power includes shapeshifting.
No.
Unlimited. What part of unlimited? Unlimited power. What part of unlimited power don't you understand?
On yourself.
No, if it's all, there's no such thing as almost unlimited power.
Oh my god.
We don't do half measures. What part of the Sith Lord do you think does half measures? Unlimited power is unlimited. It's in the name. Unlimited power.
You could always shapeshift into other birds.
Wow, Audrey, what
No,
hole have you dug yourself into?
No, you're missing. You're missing the point. No.
You can only shapeshift into other birds.
And Beanie.
That'd be the
like I have to look into what plagues are in Pandoric's box to unleash upon humanity and everything like that, because like, you know what? I've judged and I've found humanity wanting, so here we go.
Wait, what was the game? We just completely went off.
It's called Untitled. It's called the Untitled Goose Game.
Okay, what was the... Why are we talking about this?
Okay, because Beanie asked it, and I wanted to change the topic.
Oh. I thought it had some like deeper meaning towards what we were talking
For those of you who are listening, Beanie is live with us on YouTube right now, so he gets to be featured in this episode by asking us about the game. And I mean, it looks like a fun game, and I would totally play it, but it's just, you know, it's kind of just
watch it on Jacksepticeye's channel. Apparently,
apparently you gotta watch the playthrough on Jacksepticeye's channel.
Jacksepticeye is one of the nicest people in the YouTube community. He really is, and he's like the genuinely sweet dude. He raises so much money for charity and for mental health causes and for environmental, and just like, he's a really good dude, and he is a true hero of the YouTube community.
Yeah,
it's always been nice to me on Twitter. So,
well, I think that since we're back to talking about technology, anyway, let's transition into the topic here, which is augmented reality. And this came about because we mentioned it last week. I think because of is it because Apple was doing something?
Yeah, because John Prosser leaked the
Apple, right.
Yeah.
So do you want to recap that for the people who weren't listening last week?
So apparently Apple is going into the glasses business, and they're going to be releasing some pretty spiffy looking frames, and they will work with your prescription lenses, but with a twist. These are smart glasses that will work with augmented reality, allowing you to contextualize things in your life. And I couldn't be more happy about it.
Well, as long as they don't look like a Snapchat glasses.
No, they don't. They look like legit. No, they look like legit glasses. They look like anything you can get from like Warby Parker or something, who's not sponsoring us. But
so is it like did you ever own the Google Glass ones?
I did not. And the thing is, I think that those never really caught on because, again, over-engineered Snap spectacles looked cool, but functionally were crap. Like, I'm not gonna say that they didn't look cool. I mean,
what did they do?
Very, very crappy.
It was pretty limited
content. Like, and Snapchat's now irrelevant, so there's that too. And they blew God knows how much money on spectacles and everything like that. Had a ridiculous stock overvaluation. I had friends lose so much money thinking that Snapchat was a good investment and hyping up the IPO and everything like that. And they lost so much money. So much money.
Like, what did the Google Glass do?
That was well executed in the technology and very poorly executed in the marketing and design.
I think you could record stuff with the Google Glass too, no?
Yeah, you could record, you could live stream. It was it was good quality, and it was very very well done. But the marketing of it was like absolute crap.
It was poor. And then the
design was bad in terms of aesthetic. And so it didn't catch on. That's why I wanted Google to buy Snapchat, because I felt like if Google bought Snapchat, they could get the marketing of that team and how they were able to literally sell hype, and
Right.
then marry that to the engineering genius. So it's like, all right, so if we get the cool kids and we get the nerds and they have a little baby, itty bitty baby, it has the best of both worlds.
Wow.
Yeah, this is I think it's kind of like wearable technology has kind of been trying to make its way infiltrate the everyday. But it's been with kind of little success until, stuff like the Fitbit and Apple Watch were, I mean, they kind of made it cool, but not because they made it cool, but it's because they gave it a purpose. Especially with Fitbit, where it was like, hey, you just need to track how healthy you are. Here's a way to do it.
Well, they married form to function, which I think is
Right.
very difficult for most people to do. Marrying form to function is hard. It's a challenge that I don't think is respected. Apple tends to do it very well. Everyone else tends to struggle to then imitate Apple.
So what do you guys think is going to be the like the functional purpose of using these glasses?
Contextualization. Romina?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna ask. You were specifying Apple stuff, but then Roberto answered that.
Well, I'll give you a good example of this. My mom's a diabetic, right? If my mom
Mm.
moves from her beloved Android into the Apple ecosystem, then if she had these glasses, then she can contextualize the world in her food options as a diabetic, which means that when she walks anywhere, goes down the street, she could maybe have a system that tells her on a scale of 1 to 5 how good this place is for her to eat at as a diabetic who needs, specific types of meals. And, she also could get little reminders in the peripheral of her glasses to remind her, hey, you need to eat now on your schedule, or it's time
That's
to
cool.
check your, or
Well,
if it
I would
pairs with the
imagine
Apple
that it
Watch,
would.
maybe it checks her numbers
Yeah.
and says, hey, check your blood pressure, check your blood sugar, check your other stuff, and it puts a thing in her peripheral that makes it more urgent to like than just the Apple Watch or something. So I mean, there's any
Yeah, it would
number of
definitely
things.
just connect with your Apple ecosystem. So any alerts that you would have on your calendar, stuff like that, you could probably have on the glasses.
For people with disabilities, it could probably contextualize the world into what is accessible to them. So everywhere they look, they can see whether or not a place is more or less accessible to them, and they could prioritize their choices based on that. You can,
It could also help with other things like descriptions of what is actually being seen.
Yeah.
Because some people have limited vision, but they can read and stuff. So
That's pretty cool.
So enhance, like, okay, it's like zoom, enhance, that could be cool.
yeah,
Another, I mean, as we develop and evolve these things, like it's possible that it could do AR overlays of language translation would be mad dope if we get that far. So I could see that. I also,
it's too bad that Google Glass dropped off the radar because they definitely, I mean, they already have the technology for that.
It's
They
already in the
have
phone in real time. Love
right,
it.
exactly. You just point up to the signs, and you're able to. I mean, do you know about that, Audrey?
Yeah, I've used that like all
Yeah, so just like with the Google Translate, you can just point stuff at signs like road signs and stuff like that, and it'll live translate for you. So
Beanie's
you're
right
able to
about
read
these.
stuff.
Beanie's right about this in terms of blueprints and construction and engineering. This would revolutionize that and the medical field during operations and other things. I wholeheartedly agree, but it could even help with very other simple tasks, even with just you needing to measure and to cut and to like literally hang a picture frame perfectly
Yeah.
and like I could see all kinds of practical day-to-day applications of just contextualizing things, measuring things, and just adapting us in a more
Efficient.
efficient and practical way. Yeah, I
So
love
we
it.
become Borg.
We already are like, I'm fine with being I'm
The next
fine with
step is you're
being
gonna like implant it in your eye, or like
Those
it'll
are that's
look,
that's
I just
for
want look,
those are
look, if we're just gonna throw
it'll be a contact.
cyber, if we just throw cyber terrorist into a bottomless black hole, I'm good with
what?
us. If we do that, you can inject me with the nanotech tomorrow. If you just are gonna make me Superman, I'll take the nanotech shot tomorrow to have
So
all of my abilities enhanced, to be an enhanced human. I'll sign up tomorrow.
okay.
As long as I can't be hacked, I will be an enhanced human tomorrow. Sign me up, shoot me with the nanites. I am good to go, homie.
Okay, but now this brings up another issue, which is if we are able to implant. Well, I guess this goes into a whole other topic, which has nothing to do with augmented reality. I don't know if we want to go down that road because actually, I do want to add on to the augmented reality stuff, which is another thing that would be cool is for investors who are looking at lots for building, hospitals, whatever, building apartment complexes, things like that. So generally what they have is they build, scale models to kind of show people, oh, like this is what it would look like, or they render like a 3D image, they hire illustrators and stuff like that. But imagine if you can take your investors, you can take your construction workers, if you can take your designers and you can put them on the corner of the street where you plan on building this building, and you can just look at this space and you can see the building there, right in front of you, and how big it would look and what it would look like, and you can make changes live, and that kind of thing. I think that kind of application is impressive to me.
Yeah, I think it's cheaper
I don't
than
think we
another thing.
are.
I think it's cheaper than another thing I was looking into, which was smart mirror technology for fashion, where you basically could use smart mirror technology to see how you would look in different outfits, costumes.
Oh my god, that could be good for
jewelry.
online shopping.
Yeah, I thought it'd be great,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I felt that the smart mirror technology and stuff like that financially may not be as viable. The smart glasses seems like it might be cheaper and more practical paired with your smartphone, but I like the idea of it, and if I couldn't bring it into people's homes, the thing is that theoretically you could get, and the thing is, with the smart technology, you could have yourself scanned in a smart dressing room, and then everything you could be theoretically shown to you as if it was custom fit to your measurements, and you could order it and then have it custom fit. That was kind of my whole thought process, to where you literally just build this into what elevates a store. And but with e-commerce and with shopping experiences, again, I was trying to figure out, and now with COVID-19, I was trying to figure out, I've been having this idea for the last 5 years, and I've never been able to figure out how to scale it and what would be practical. And the shortcut might literally just be smart glasses and smart contact lenses, and then just building an app and a function around this into your phone. But again, the benefits of smart mirrors would have been that you could literally just rotate in the mirror and get a 360 image and get your measurements and get all that. So like it could 3D map you. So I just haven't figured out, because the glasses don't allow for that. So the thing is, I think smart mirrors are valid. I just don't think that they financially are as practical as I would like, unless you have a brand that creates such a great experience that you have to go to do you want to go to the store, and that you want that is still a brand and a store that has the franchise scale model, the money to back it, and is going to stay in business, and that people want, and is a beloved brand that won't go out of business.
Yeah.
Very specific criteria for who this is viable for. So that was like my issue. But you see, I do have like billion-dollar ideas.
Yeah.
I just don't know how practical they are.
Right. One use I showed you guys a a few days ago, I guess. I got an email from, so there's this project that's being built in Miami, which is called the Underline. And it's basically a walking path where people can walk, bike, skate, and all that stuff underneath the highway. So underneath the highway, there's all this unused space where they're trying to make it walkable and connected. So it's kind of like the Beltline in Atlanta. And on top of that, they want to make it a place where they can curate some art and, you know, showcase different local artists and graffiti and stuff like that. So, and they'll have activities and all that stuff on there. And one of the emails that I got last week from the Underline is that they are planning on implementing AR into the walk. So basically, if you're walking there and you, I guess they'll have an app or something. I'm not sure the logistics, like how they'll actually do it. But some of the stuff that they're planning on doing is having historical figures that will pop up and talk to you about like locations or like history of Miami and things like that. They have another idea was to point something at one of the artworks, like one of the murals or something like that. And maybe it comes to life and one of the subjects in the painting will come out of the painting and walk to you and like talk to you or stuff like that. So they have like a lot of different ideas, and that's inspiring, you know, like to bring in the real world and the digital world together like that.
What do you think about AR-based memorials? And does that cross a line, like when we were talking about holograms of people? Like we talked about the holograms of actors and that technology, or even rotoscoping over their face and everything like that. But what about for people? What about memorials? So that if you visit somebody's grave marker or somebody's whatever, that you can actually see in AR, like a gallery of them and moments, or hear their voice again. And what about AR memorials?
I don't think that's a horrible idea. I mean, they do that in Star Trek. Data has a little like holographic version of Tasha of Yar. Remember? I don't know if you remember that, but he has like a little of her that just like is standing there and like smiles and whatever.
I mean, I guess if it's something you like pay for, and
I wouldn't see anything wrong with it. I mean, it's kind of like having I mean, don't they explore that in Minority Report? Doesn't he have like a little hologram?
Yeah. In fact,
Or is it just video?
It's both. It's
I
AR.
think he
It's actually
interacts
AR.
with
It's AR. It's AR and VR. It's this weird. It's mixed.
Because he like plays the video.
Actually,
and
it's
then
mixed
he, like,
reality.
goes...
Actually, Minority Report is MR, which is mixed reality, which is a combination of AR and VR. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
And
I mean, you know what I'm talking
contextualized
about,
to
right?
Right, but it's also contextualized to the individual, meaning that it's coded. It's coded to the individual, so it's mixed reality, and that's actually something I'm really fascinated about. But also, this reminds me of something in Star Wars called holocrons, where Jedi and Sith would basically almost make a copy of some of their consciousness, and it would have their personality, kind of like how in like you see those AI things where it's like, oh, I've downloaded a copy, it's not me. It's like I didn't download my brain and stop existing, but it's like, oh, I made a copy of my thought process and how I would respond to things that can interact with you and blah, blah, blah. So basically that's what they have in Star Wars. It's called holocrons, but it also is a documented like record of the memories and lessons of that person and their life experiences and all of their discoveries spoken back to you through a visual representation of them. But also in the case of Star Wars, because they have the Force, the holocrons also sometimes are imbued with an echo of them or part of their energy signature. Sometimes literally they even bind, like some Sith lords specifically in some cases used to bind their actual essence and spirit to their holocron and use it as a means of literally living beyond death. It was this really interesting concept. It was and it reminds me a little bit of this if taken to its logical conclusion.
What do you think, Audrey? Would you be against that?
I don't think so. If like the person knew it was gonna happen, and
Well, I mean, everything in AR is contextual, and it's like permissions, just like with our apps. Oh, do you allow, or do you want to do this?
Well, I think she means before they die.
Oh, yeah.
Like you would have to say,
wouldn't
yeah, I want my image to be scanned so that I can be a little holograph.
exactly.
Or again, if it's not that's your hologram thing, if it's just that like your family wants to be able to like go and hear your voice again and see pictures of you, the family would request that, just like how they request like a picture or a this or a that. I mean, in Asian cultures, a lot of times in the Shinto religion, they have shrines where there's literally pictures of that person in the shrine throughout their life before they're passing, as well as mementos that they've left behind.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
this
think
would just be a digital equivalent of
it would
that.
just be different. Like right now, like we see pictures and videos. I feel like I'm having a brain fart right now. But if you saw an actual projection of someone,
The projection we're gonna have to get a little used to, but I do think that an augmented reality of, oh, here's a photo gallery, like here's their Instagram or something.
Well,
It's
it's
like
kind of so there actually is a Black Mirror episode where they have a proxy, and it's like a robot, and the
That
consciousness.
was literally in Star Wars.
So it's a Black Mirror episode too.
And there's a movie called Surrogates that's kind of like that too.
Right? Yeah, I remember Surrogates.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think like there's obviously some really great stuff and some really bad stuff too that could come hand in hand with this kind of stuff. But I think more than anything, I think it would just be a positive thing, and it would just be, hey, like, do you want to use this or not? You know, I don't think it would definitely be something that would like I mean, it would make a lot of things more efficient, a lot of tasks. But is it necessary? No, but I mean, if everybody else is on the hook, is hooked up to the AR world, then you might be you might get left behind.
I'm excited for like AR games,
Especially if people like Roberto are, injecting nanites into their bloodstream.
Well, you know what they say. The dark side is a path to many abilities some would consider to be unnatural.
Which we can definitely talk about.
in big trouble if Roberto got superpowers.
Wait, what if I got superpowers?
I said we would be in big trouble. Or
Yeah,
in,
we'll be
I
doing
would
that.
be a benevolent dictator.
There's no such thing, Roberto.
that's what everyone says.
Oh, come on.
That is what everything. Isn't that what Kim
Come
Jong-un said?
on. You know that all I want is peace and reasonable people.
Well,
and to
I don't
love-
want peace.
you know.
Peace is never an option when I'm involved.
Oh, so you're a Sith. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go. Peace is a lie.
No, I am
let's
bored.
go.
I am bored.
Like no, you can join
Resistance
like
is futile.
look like Romina, Romina, you can be my apprentice.
Wait, what? I ain't anybody's apprentice. I am bored.
In the Sith tradition, there are two Sith lords, and it's like
I am no Sith. Unless
Audrey,
what if-
come to the dark side.
No.
Audrey, become a Borg. We will assimilate you. Resistance is futile.
Look, I'm telling you, the dark side is a path to many abilities some people consider to be unnatural. It's a really good deal. It's a fantastic deal.
I mean, we can definitely discuss oh wow. All right. Well, we got maniacal laughter now. We made it this far into the podcast. Oh no, I'm scared. And he's dying.
Took it a little far.
This is like old man trying to take over the world. This is definitely like something that would be on Cartoon Network. Like this would be the evil villain that the Powerpuff Girls are trying to take down.
No, Otto's right though. If I had Magneto's powers of like, I would force all the nations in the world to be peace. I could get rid of all the nukes. I could make all the armies stand down. What are they going to do? Try to kill each other with plastic just to spite me?
Yes.
Wow, Roberto, really? You would have plastic in this new world of yours?
Well, no, I'm saying if I have Magneto's power set, the only real way that they could realistically keep fighting each other, because I made the guns and the nukes irrelevant, is if they literally decide to go with plastic or glass to try and kill each other at that point. And then they're trying really hard. I mean, at that point, they might as well club each other to death if they're that adamant about it.
Well, I mean, some people are like that, but we'll eliminate them.
I mean, that would be the plan.
Audrey's like,
Yeah, I am not a part of this.
she's like, I did not sign up for this.
Look, I mean, I would literally look like one of my first things I do is literally is like, okay, I'm in charge now. No more war, which means no more innocent people that are just going about their lives trying to just be good, and like, okay, you don't have to worry about nuclear holocaust anymore. You're welcome. Like, no more of that. It's like, all right, great. Now that we don't have to spend all this money on military spending and mutually assured destruction, because I've decided that no, your mutually assured destruction is I will just end you all indiscriminately. Okay, then if that's the case, great, I'm your deterrent. And then if that's the case, all that money wasted on military spending because we don't need it anymore, because your benevolent Lord Protector has got it covered, well, they can actually do something for the people with that money now. You're welcome. You're welcome.
The news.
All right. Well,
I mean, I guess I could always just be selfish and just use my powers to go to Vegas and have a good damn time. Because I mean, I could just use my superpowers to go to Vegas and have a fantastic time and be selfish. I mean,
all right. Well, I do want to say this. So, because you're gonna be injecting yourself with nanites, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you not feel like you are giving up your freedom by joining a system, by injecting yourself with the nanites? Because then people will then have control over you.
No,
they'll be able to track your movements.
No, see, that was the thing. That was the condition. The condition is that like it's not that they can control it. It's that it's a symbiotic organism type relationship. So it's kind of like the Venom symbiote is the version I'm going with here. Is that it's me and the nanites and nobody else. It's like, it's me and the nanites. I'm their host organism. And
all right, but we're talking about real life here, where we're talking about the augmented reality, and like we were talking about, biological technology that will enhance humans.
Yeah, no, if there are people that could theoretically control that switch, my apprentice takes them out.
Okay, well, see, that's the thing, Roberto. This is a discussion that's already been happening, because people want to. I mean, there's already talks of having tracking devices on people in order to track their movements.
Well, so here's the thing. Theoretically, the answer is not that they've embedded the nanite tracking system in me. It's that they can track me because the nanites make me unique. So that would, it's just like Wolverine is adamantium.
All right, but we're talking about the real world here.
No, I'm saying the physics I'm saying the physics apply that you're talking about. The physics you apply are talking about. Nanites make me unique, which means I'm trackable by basis of that. Every nanite enhanced human is trackable, not because of a system, but because your makeup would have a unique signature.
Yeah, but here's the thing. All right, but what I'm talking about is the real world discussion of Bill Gates wanting to track where people are in order to track infection.
That's called this.
Right. And
so, by the way, for the audio listeners, that's called a smartphone. That's called a smartphone.
Right. So what I'm saying is, if you do have some kind of chip inside of you, right? This is a real thing, a real discussion of what has been proposed pre-corona, where chips can be installed on people so that there is a tracking device on them, so that there is some kind of order to controlling people.
Assuming you're lawful good, what are the practical downsides? Assuming that you are not a criminal of any kind and you're not doing anything that you're really like, what's the downside here? Because if I recall correctly, what we used to all do a few years ago is we used to literally tell Facebook exactly where we were every single time we could, so we could say, hey, I just checked in, and we all were good with that. When I remember is that maybe almost 25 years ago, back when Jason Bourne and Minority Report were kind of like a thing, that we all signed up for MySpace, and we basically for free created the same data that used to take 72 hours in a skiff room of 30 people working round the clock to put together a dossier on you. Last time I checked, we made that a public profile for free in MySpace 25 years ago. And then 5 years following that, we did it again with Facebook at scale. And no one blinked an eye that literally what used to take people working 72 hours around the clock to compile a dossier on you to know who your known associates were, the 10 closest friends that you had, the places that you lived in your history, what coffee shop you like. They had people working round the clock, dozens of people for 3 days to compile the information that is now in every single one public profiles, and we're worried about privacy now. Like, let's think about that. And what did we do it for? We did it to be closer to our friends. We did it for clout. We did it for no practical upside. And now we're talking about literally either protecting us from infection or biologically enhancing us to where we never go blind, we never go deaf, we never go Alzheimer's. We might even be able to correct mental illness. In exchange for all of those upsides, an inefficient, bloated government that can't even handle rudimentary processes without bungling it is going to know where we are at all times. Really? Oh, that's a problem.
So I do agree with partially with what you're saying, but then there's also the I think the reason that it comes up is, for example, if they are able to track like your medical records and what you are doing, then let's say that there is like some new vaccine or something like that. But what about what you decide that you want to put into your body? So then you suddenly lose the freedom to choose. Because
why would we lose that? Why would we lose that? Why would we lose consent?
I'm just saying, what if there is a step where we do lose that, where everyone is required to have like a vaccine, for example?
We cross that bridge when we come to it, because at that point, here's the thing. Practicality says that that's difficult to enforce because they can't enforce getting everybody to do anything now, Romina. They can't make everybody have car insurance now. They can't make everybody have medical insurance now. They can't get us to comply.
This would be further. This would be when this is more heavily implemented.
But I'm talking about the practicality, Romina. Even if they know where we all are, they already know where we all are to go ahead and to send us tax refunds or stimulus checks or any number of things.
Yeah,
like, they know where we are. Like they know
except
where
they didn't really do a good job of.
They know where we live, and they can't. Like no, they know. They already know where we live. Theoretically, they already tax us. They already have all this information on us. And yet they can't even handle the efficiency of the information they have. I don't think them having any more information is going to make it more likely that they're going to be able to do all the cryptic things people are worried about, because they bungle basic shit.
Well, here's what it is. So
they're so incompetent that I'm not worried about them.
So here's what I'm thinking. If this technology is implemented, let's say that it's deeply implemented, right? And it works, everything is working, right? There's a database of all that stuff. Let's say that there is something like that, where there is an executive order of like, hey, everybody, like, here's like a vaccine or whatever. Like, just as an example, right? This is just a general example, has nothing to do with the current state of affairs. So if there is something like that, let's say that as a private business owner and as a person, as just an individual, you've decided, just as like people say, no shoes, no shirt, no service. Let's say you can't go into my establishment unless your chip meets X requirements.
If I'm sure that there will be people who alternatively, because of the market, provide a service and provide those services to people and don't require the chip in the same way. Right now, there are people who are like, hey, that place says no mask, no service. Hey, we'll let you in because we'll take your money. That's how capitalism works. I only
Right.
worry about this in a society where we lose capitalism. If we move to
Right.
socialism or communism, then I'm worried about it, because
Yeah.
then, our dear leader can then actually make that kind of shit happen, or the culture can make that shit happen. But as long as there's capitalism, there's competition. As long as there's capitalism, someone will always present an alternative for an underserved population, or anyone who wants an alternative.
choice.
Every alternative is an opportunity. So capitalism actually protects all choice. And that's why a
Right.
free market does exist. And that's why it's called the free market. It's not about it being free in terms of not costing you anything. It's about the opportunity and the abundance of choice and the alternatives that are presented. The reality is that it may be not as great, but if you decide that you hate Google and you think that Google's the devil and evil, well, you can use Bing and you can use Yahoo now, can't you? Like,
But what if you have
can
a
use
chip
Microsoft's
stuck in
services.
you? You won't
Well,
really have a choice.
Well, it depends on what the functionality of the chip is, because the thing is, you have to remember that, a chip that has tracking capabilities, or a chip that has this and that and everything like that, not everything can do all things equally well. This phone doesn't do all things equally well, and there are limitations to it. And then there's ways to block signals and interference. And depending on where a chip is implanted, things can be removed. I'd be more concerned about the one that Elon wants to put in people's skull than I would be about this. So like this is, so again, from a practicality standpoint, there are infinite numbers of ways to deal with this. But the reality is that your best defense against anything going sideways in every instance is capitalism itself, because capitalism is more aligned with intrinsic human nature than anything else that we have, because it means that people will act in self-interest. And that is the closest relationship you can have to being aligned to human behavior and human values that there is that we'll act in self-interest.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I was just trying to pose as a devil's advocate in order to create an interesting conversation.
I appreciate that, but it's a good question. But it's why I don't worry about the things that the conspiracy theorists worry about, because it's like, I don't really genuinely believe that capitalism is going anywhere anytime soon, and I'll defend it if I have to and everything. I'll rise up. I'll find some freaking dark artifact. I'll find the Holy Grail. I'll find 7 freaking Horcruxes if I have to, and I'll defend it and everything like that. If I have to seize unlimited power, I will, and I will preserve humanity. I will be your great arbiter, and I will see us through these dark times as your dark lord.
Definitely some stuff that I'm not agreeing with in the chat right now, but definitely not this chat, but the actual chat that's happening.
I see it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. In a capitalist society, someone could exploit vulnerable populations for capital.
That would happen in
you know what? Like,
talk
to anyone who has family over in Cuba about exploitation, homie, and everything like that. Talk to people about freedom with that and everything.
That's me.
Like that. Like, yeah.
If you do want to discuss this, you can DM me privately on Twitter.
No. You know what happens in capitalism? I'll tell you the truth. And I know this wasn't the rant we were intending, but I'm going to wrap up with this and everything like that. As someone who actually builds shit for a living, I'll tell you what happens here. The people who feel exploited, have not figured out something very simple that I'm trying to teach all of you for free on YouTube every single freaking day. There's a reason I went from making $6 an hour to making 6 figures a year. And I'll tell you, it's really simple. I figured out that if I didn't want to feel quote unquote exploited, it was a real simple equation. I could stop trading my time for money, and I could actually start doing transactions as many hours of the day as I wanted, because now I would not be limited by the scope of my time. Because if I decided to trade time for money, if I made the generous $20 an hour that everyone thinks is going to help and save them, then that means that my limit of potential is $160 a day in exchange for labor, and that even increasing and enhancing my skills and my effectivity and my efficiency, that ceiling wouldn't change, and it wouldn't change drastically, especially if that is what we agreed to. Okay, so a good livable salary has nothing to do with your potential as a human being. But when you decide to go to the directly to market, When you decide to go directly to market, you go to a system within capitalism and the economy where you are directly rewarded proportionately to your contributions. And I am sorry that there are people who have hard, rough lives. I had a hard, rough life for a majority of my lifetime until the last few years, but I took it into my own hands, and it wasn't luck. It wasn't luck. It was simply understanding that we are rewarded in proportion to our ability to contribute to other people at scale. And so when I figured out that I could serve people directly and do transactions with as many people as I'm capable of for prices they are willing to pay me, then the market could reward me and it could give me the things that I wanted and I needed to help me and to help my family and to help my siblings, to help my mom with her illness, to help my sister with her illness, to help give my brother a chance to make a better life, to give my sister, my youngest sister, the options to make choices for herself and not feel pressured. I was able to help my father, who's a veteran, and people don't know what a travesty the VA is. I was able to do those things for the people in my life because I didn't need a revolution. I needed a revelation. And I need the revelation of, hey, I'm capable of learning skills. I'm capable, and I have the potential to help hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people. And as long as they are willing to pay me for what I can produce, I will be okay because I can create value and I can serve more people directly in the market. And the thing is, before the Industrial Revolution, everyone was at the service of the market. Everyone had to serve their local community. Every blacksmith, every goat herder, every crafter had to go directly to the market. No one's been able to just exist. That is not how the universe works, my friends. So no, capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than anything else. Innovation, the technological revolution might well eliminate 80% of labor before we're all dead. Okay? And the thing is, automation is going to change the landscape of things. So we have to change our thinking, and we can't be petty about it. And we can't sit here and think that the answer is to take from other people versus raise everybody's ability to do their very best and to make their maximum contribution to their communities. And guess what? You're a citizen of the world now. You're a citizen of the world now if you have access to the internet. The end.
Dang.
I was waiting for you. That was your cue.
Like, no, that the scenario for which my hat was made for $40, by the way, in Amazon, the scenario in which that was made and everything like that. Look, I'm not saying that in those countries outside of the US that people can't and shouldn't have it better, my friend. I'm saying that there's probably somebody there in that country that might have figured it out and may have actually figured out how to change things. And more people, we should work on educating and giving more people opportunities. But I'll tell you what, in our lifetime, the labor, the exploitation you're worried about probably won't be a factor because the richest companies in the world will literally replace all of those people with robots. But those people will still need to find a way to deliver some kind of contribution to the market to be able to earn what they need to make a living. But what are we going to say about all these exploited people when the robots are the thing that we're exploiting? When we exploit the technology, what then? We'll have all these displaced people, and we haven't figured out that we need to raise the education and the value and the economic mobility of all these people we're about to displace, because everybody's saying, my labor, my labor, my labor, my labor, my labor. You know what's going to happen? Okay, you know what the answer for that's going to be? It's not going to be 15, it's not going to be 25, it's not going to be $30 an hour. It's going to be a damn machine. It's going to be a damn machine.
You know, sometimes
It's going to be 3D printing.
What people don't realize is that sometimes these scenarios are actually from other countries which are not capitalist, and that's interesting, isn't it? That they are exploiting their own people to sell to capitalists.
And I'm not good with that, but that's an issue that exists outside of the market and social dynamics that we are a part of. And yes,
that we're able to control.
And the thing is,
directly.
I'm not directly, and I'm not. The thing is, I'm not in favor of those countries, but you have to remember that those countries are largely communist.
Yeah.
All the exploitation you're worried about is coming from communist and socialist countries.
Right. And the problem isn't us exploiting them, it's them exploiting their own people.
Right.
But it's all how it's framed, you know? But I think that was really great way to wrap up the podcast?
Yeah. I'm not interested in.
Wait,
like,
what are you saying? Audrey, what are you whispering?
I didn't whisper anything.
Yeah. Like, by the way, anyone who wants to make the argument against capitalism, I suggest that if they want to make a real moral argument against capitalism and everything like that, then they should
DM
live in a
us on Twitter.
commune. They should live in a commune. They should get off social media. They should stop using. Here's the thing: if you don't think billionaires shouldn't exist, then you forfeit the right to use anything that was produced by billionaires. That's your moral high ground right there. Your moral high ground is if you so god awful believe that billionaires are evil and billionaires got everything off the exploitation, stop contributing to the exploitation. Get off fucking social media. Get off social media, burn your iPhone, burn everything that was produced by billionaires, get it out of your life and live off of the land. And I will say, God bless you. And I will literally say, like, hats off to you and everything like that, and good for you, my friend. Good from you, man.
The
God
sass
bless.
today.
God bless you. God bless you. But no, I cannot stand the hypocrisy, and I cannot stand the entitlement. I cannot stand the whining. I know I hijacked the podcast for this freaking rant and for my freaking soapbox. But like, I'm tired of moral grandstanding, and I'm tired of people literally using the technology built by billionaires to whine about the existence of billionaires in a world where it's like, if they had to live in a world where billionaires exist, you know what that was? That was a world where at scale, things were worse for their effing grandparents and worse for their great grandparents and everything like that. And I'll give you a high horse. I'll give you a high horse. As a black man in America and a first generation American, I am damn glad I was born in the 20th century, the better part to experience the 21st century. And I'm glad that I was born in a world where billionaires exist, because it really is a fantasy for people who don't look like me to be able to think about going back in time to a simpler time. I don't got the luxury, my friend. Time travel isn't a vacation or a fantasy for me. I don't want to go back to the 1950s when crap was cheaper. It wasn't going to be a good time for me, my friend. It's not going to be a good time for me.
Oh my god.
But if you guys
I ain't
do
whining
want to
about
continue,
Jack. I ain't whining. I'm winning, homie. I'm winning, homie, because you know what? I figured it out.
This will go on forever.
Yeah, it will if I
If
keep
you
going.
guys
So I'm sorry.
do
I'm so
want
sorry,
to-
by the way, for everybody.
if you guys do want to continue this conversation, then
Ooh.
head over
Is that
to our
next week?
Twitter.
Is
You
that
can-
next week?
No, definitely not. We do not want to enter those grounds. You can contact us on Twitter and continue the conversation there in a more discreet manner. But with that being said, do you want to wrap up the podcast?
Guess not
I'm-
time
I'm-
to think
I'm good.
about the
I'm good.
outro.
I'm good. Actually, I think I came up with. Well, actually, no. I do need to rethink the outro now. I need to.
Okay, Romina. Let's.
So I'll let you guys segue for like 2 minutes while I
All
figure
right,
out the outro.
so Audrey, how do you feel about everything? How do you feel about this episode?
Great. This was fun. What about you?
Great.
Wow.
great.
You always say that. You're like, what did you think about everything? I was like,
Because I'm
"Great."
trying so that I can try to get you to talk. I don't know what inspired you or what stood out to you, so I feel like just saying everything, you'll come back at me with something, you know? By the way,
What?
continue.
No, I was gonna say I'm excited for AR games in the future where they can bring like Pokemon and stuff to life. I'm very excited about that.
Well, I think Pokemon is working on that. Pokemon Go.
Really?
Yeah.
But like actually good, not
well, I think they're working on that. I think they're
balloon.
working on
Like I'm saying like realistic, like cool, not like you know.
well, you gotta start somewhere.
I know.
Everything's gotta.
I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking at the chat. I love when people tell
Oh, boy.
me as a black Latino man who came literally from nothing, how I'm ranting from an entitled place or anything like that, how I'm entitled or how I'm privileged and everything like that. Literally, I don't know if
feed
anyone
the
got the memo.
troll.
I don't know if anyone got the memo this week about what it's like to be a black man in America. Tell me how entitled I effing am. Please tell me to my face how entitled I am as a black man.
I think
in
they just
America
did, Roberto.
Like, yeah, I know, but I'm making a point here. It's like,
All right.
I
Did you come up
love
with
hearing
Did you
that.
come up with an outro?
Oh, I did. I came up with you guys'
Oh, no.
nicknames
Alright.
for the
Well, if you guys are watching, please give this a thumbs up for Audrey and I having survived this, and and don't forget to subscribe. All right, and the outro going over to you, Roberto.
Thank you for listening to a No Assembly Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing and where we get sidetracked by Roberto's rants. I don't know if any audience members were harmed in the filming of this episode. It's entirely possible that their feelings were hurt, though. With that said, please follow us at youtube.com/noassemblypod, as well as download the audio version of this podcast everywhere where audio podcasts are available. Now, this is us signing off as your host, Cyborg Romina, Audrey the Silent Knight, and of course, Roberto, your Dark Lord of Capitalism. This has been the No Assembly Required podcast. Some audience members may have been harmed in the recording of this podcast, or at least their feelings, and of course, I have completely abused my co-host as I always do. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you tune in for us next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we promise it will be a less ranty episode unless you trigger me in the chat. This has been the No Assembly Required podcast. Thank you for listening. NARP.